And how can we be sure that children have been exposed, have had equitable access to the 13 eras of literature? Here's what my teachers did for me, and I didn't know what it was called at the time, but in ELA, they gave me access to a balance of informational and literary texts. And that's what kids need from us. And so, because the world is informational, they need access to a balance of both informational and literary texts, and those informational texts have to look a certain way. Those informational texts have to be historical. I'm talking about the ELA block. The first time they read about an historical event or an historical figure should not be in the social studies block. It should be in the ELA block. And so kids should be reading historical texts and scientific texts. So when they read about the water cycle the first time, it could be in the ELA block. That's what they need. Children for whom no one will come, the first time they read about historical events or historical figures or scientific concepts, it cannot be in the social studies or the science block. That's too late for them. So historical texts and scientific texts. And texts that are technical in nature, about how you build a rocket or how you build a rooftop garden. Those are technical texts, and they belong in the ELA block. So historical, scientific, and technical, and those texts should cross eras, topics, and perspectives. That service to children for whom no one will come. And on the literary side, children need access to texts that are written by a variety of authors. This is why a high school English teacher can't have a death grip on a novel for a 9-week quarter. Children need access to a variety of pieces of literature, right? So authors, genres of literature. There are 3 genres of literature. And I ask this question across the country, and sometimes I get blank stares. And in the process, children are being underserved. What are the 3 genres of literature? The big ones, plays, poems, and stories. And so the first time kids see a play should not be 6th grade. That's too late. The first time that kids see a poem and have to interpret figurative language should not be middle school. It should be happening in brief familiar scenes as early as kindergarten. So authors, genres of literature, traditions of literature. How many traditions of literature are there? There are 3 traditions of literature. Classical, Huckleberry Finn, A Tale of Two Cities. So in addition to the classics, children need exposure to the traditions of literature. Traditional. Now, what does traditional literature mean? The author is always unknown because that text was passed down through a tradition. And then the final type, mythological, with which we are all familiar. Now, in addition to authors, genres of literature, children need access to a variety of themes of literature. So they need to read texts about good versus evil, perseverance pays off, tortoise and the hare. They need access to a variety of texts that are reflective of a variety of themes. So authors, genres, themes, eras of literature. There are 13 eras of literature. And how can we be sure that children have been exposed, have had equitable access to the 13 eras of literature? Shakespearean, Elizabethan, eras of literature. And finally, authors, genres, traditions of literature, eras of literature, and themes found in literature.